Greetings and welcome to Smartwatch Ticks. We're a YouTube channel on the web at smartwatchticks.com, and up until today I'd say we are all about wearables. Well, this looks a little more than wearables. Welcome to a whole new dimension this channel and these products are headed into, because not only do we have a band that you wear on your wrist with a thing attached to it, but that thing can attach into something else, a music player. Let's take a look at what we've got in the back of this thing. We have a regular Android smartwatch processor. I'm covering my IMEI number if you're wondering why I'm doing that. 4G LTE communication capability, which is where you put your SIM card in. Two different configurations, 1 plus 16 gigabytes of memory or 3 plus 32 if you really want to load your puppy up with music. Power bank built into the charger unit, you're going to see, and the music player. It has a front-facing camera for video and chat. Of course, it handles Wi-Fi connection and Bluetooth as well. You got onboard weather, a heart rate monitor in this unit. You've got the ability to do your Google searching, capture images, music player, like I said. GPS is built into it. It also tracks speedometer step every day if you're wearing it or carrying the music player with the module in your pocket. And of course, voice search as well. They got a QR code you can scan for coupons, it says, and LEMFO.com is available here. But check the show notes because, gang, I have got it for you right now with a coupon discount and upcoming, depending on when you're watching this, 11/11, right? The dual 11 holiday. Then China is coming. Black Friday's coming. Look for great prices, like as low as $100 on this thing. Yep, $109.99 from AliExpress LEMFO official store. Or you can pick it up from Banggood too. They are also sponsoring this for us. It's an Android 7.1.1. Their 1 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte unit that they're selling. Little pricey here, but again, it's in pre-sale right now. And check the show notes for a buying link on that as well. Let's cover the specs and then we'll jump into it. The power bank music player has a 1200 milliamp hour battery, which can actually charge the little watch module. Now, there's a lot that goes into the fact that that thing is removable and can stand alone. It makes it capable as a pocket watch. You can insert it in just about anywhere. You could Velcro the thing to your car dashboard, whatever you like to do. So now you got a lot of flexibility. Touch screen, it's got a 2 megapixel front-facing camera, which is good for video chat capability, not great for taking major pictures, but that's not what this is about. It's more of a music player and a watch combo. Hardware, network capability, these are the frequencies it works on. Remember, it's a GSM network, and your carrier in your country needs to support GSM, not CDMA or any of the others. In the US, that means it's AT&T or T-Mobile, not Verizon or Sprint. The display is a 1.54 inch. You got the G sensor, the heart rate sensor, and the battery information. The battery in the watch itself, the watch unit, is 600 milliamp hour, and double that in the backup power bank unit. So carrying this thing along, wearing it as a watch and keeping the music player with you allows you to quickly snap it out, as you'll see, and snap it in and charge it up. We got all these other kind of things listed here, and size and weight and so forth. So the way it comes packaged is perfect for a gift. It really, really is. You slide the sleeve off and you've got a plain black box. So you could do it any way. You could have this on it to let them know what they've got, or just wrap the plain black box for a gift. When you open it, and I'm just pushing down on the sides to reveal the inside of it, you're greeted first about an overall operations guide. We're looking at driving a Ferrari here, not a Pinto. You guys remember Pinto? Am I dating myself? So here's how you change the default languages and so forth. I'm just going to leave that on the screen. You can telephoto it if you'd like to, freeze frame it. And you can change the strap out. You can lock it into the device and lock it into the power bank. And the locking is important because it won't actually make connection properly and it could fall out. So you're inserting the bottom edge first and then snapping it down. And the bands, of course, on the little module that rests on your wrist is removable. On the back side, it's the same thing in Chinese. So if you want to practice your translation app, you can point Google Translate at this and see if it matches up with that. Pretty fun. You always have things to do here. We've got the little manual. Gonna set that aside because I know you're chomping at the bits to see it. Presentation-wise, here you go. Where do we begin? This thing? Okay. This is the unique new thing. It's a music module. Now this one is all charged up. The USB connector goes right in here, which it's not included a standard USB, whatchamacallit. Let me show you the cord. See, it's lighting up because I just touched it. There's a wire that you need that's this end to a regular micro USB to plug in there. They're available everywhere. You probably already have one. That's how you charge the power bank. This wire is different now. This is the specialized charging cable for the phone watch unit itself, which, it's about time we show you that one, sits right in here. This is the blue one. You see the blue highlight on it? Now, when I pick it up, it looks like it's a full-on watch, doesn't it? A watch module ready for bands to be attached. And it is, except it can be removed from this little tray. It magnetically couples to this, just like that. And it's going to sit on your arm with bands to hold it there. It comes with a cover. Yours will be cleaner than mine. I've taken it off, set it up, played with it, and then tried to stick it back on, and it always gets bubbles when you do that. So just remove your cover from that. This thing down here is the camera, and I'm not sure, some other sensor possibly down in there. You have a single LEMFO tagged button on the side. Oh, they're getting good. A microphone, nothing there. On this side, you've got the speakers and the port that you open to put a SIM card in it. Yes, it will work as a standalone phone. No, it's not going to tether to your regular phone so you can do Bluetooth calling from this watch module or from the music player using the SIM in your phone. That's so unfortunate. We wish that was here. It's not a limitation of this. It's a limitation of Android 7.1.1 and Google's insistence to lock it down. Only the earlier versions like 5.1 and some Android 6 have Bluetooth calling capability. Nonetheless, you've got this little module that you can carry in your pocket, carry in your music player, or strap it to your arm, and with its own SIM card in here, do text messaging, cellular data communications right directly to it, and of course, make and receive phone calls. So, we've got the module, and then over here we've got the snap-on bands, which I'll do off camera a little bit later. They're your standard silicone TPU type of band with the special slide-through thing. So after you buckle this, you're going to slide it underneath, and you're not having to fuss with that little rubberized thing that could fall off and get lost when you're taking the bands off to use this thing separately. Smart, very smart. What else? Looks like I got a screwdriver in here. Yeah, with a very interesting head to it. And I presume this is the screwdriver you're going to use to get into here. Is that a standard Phillips screwdriver? Wow, I can't really tell. It looks like it's a T3 or T4 or one of those. Whatever it is, it's there. And you have a couple of extra screws that are thrown in here. And that's the mix. This thing comes up. We haven't looked well, we did. We looked around that. That's where we hooked it up. The hole, when you plug this in for the optical sensor to go through. Now, once again, I'm going to put it in wrong. I'm going to put it down that way, and it's not in there properly, you see? And to get it out, you press on the backside. What you want to do is slide it in, drop it in, and now, folks, it's connected. And it's getting its charge and data connection from the music player. And if you're playing music, which we will do on here, it suddenly gets bumped up in volume and is playing out of here. You see, it's attempting to charge it now, just as if you had used the connector cable. This is glowing blue, so we're in good shape. And you get like 2 full charges out of this 1200 milliamp battery. Wow. Wow, okay. I'm going to clear things out and let's start. Oh, thanks for the reminder. Yes, I skipped the manual. I know you're all looking at the guy that said, hey, what about the manual? You're going to do that again? Yes, I am, because this manual in particular is a really important one because there's so many different things going on here. So I'm giving you some time to freeze frame it if you need to and peruse it. It's all in text, so I'm not going to go into details. Obviously, I cannot cover everything on this review. So some of the stuff I skip will probably be here in the manual. Speaking of which, usually these unboxing and first look videos is just that. We open the box, we pull it out, we look at everything, and that's where we stop. But because this thing is so unique, I'm going to go a little deeper with you and give you some more insight into some of the software and firmware and things you can install and how the music player works and all of that. Hope you're happy with that. I am, and I have it on. Went ahead and put the bands on. This is exposed in the front. Kind of weird. Be nice if it had a little cover over it, but it doesn't. But then, you know, it'd be lost by the time you're taking it in and out anyway. There's the side, and you see it sitting on the tray, so it's a little bit bigger. There's the band, and about this point, you're wondering, the LEM11 is very similar in look to the LEM10. How would it compare? Glad you asked. Over here, I happen to have the LEM10 without bands, so you can see it as if it were a little module. Its connector for charging is on the bottom, and it uses a little 4-pin kind with a guide in the middle, so you don't get it mixed up with anything else, and you can't put it in the wrong way. The band connectors are solid on here, so it makes it a little owie if you put this thing in your pocket and use it as a pocket watch, but you can. Same thing, it's got SIM card capability right here on the side, very much like this one, right? And it's a little bit, I don't know, we'll have to measure them. It looks like it's a little bit thinner, but then it kind of pumps out right there. But if I were to pull this off and put this on, which it won't fit, just in case you were curious, it's totally different design. It would be about the same overall size as the tray, and it would look about the same thickness, you think? Here's the thickness with it here. Here's the actual module itself. So we're looking at a watch that's very, very similar to the LEM10 without the twirly knob that doesn't do anything when you twirl it, but it does function as a back button when you press it, and one button on the side. Okay, we want to focus on this one. Let's take it out of its tray. Can I fling it? Nope, I can't. You like that? I can spit on it, sorry. Oh, man, it's in there. Very strong magnetic coupling and a hook right there on the front keeps it from flying. Let's turn it on. Press the one button that we've got. We should light up with LEMFO and start booting. Now, when we get into this, I want to tell you that it comes with its standard 711 Android and selection of apps, but I've gone hog wild and loaded it up with a bunch of different apps, including some radio stations I'm going to tune into connected to Wi-Fi to download and stream music from the module out of its speaker and then pop it in here, and you can see how well it works with the music player. What's missing on the music player is any kind of a volume control or pause, forward, backward, you know, none of that stuff, which is kind of strange. It's just an amplifier, a sound amplifier. So you're going to be stuck with having to control all that from the watch, and as you know, Android watches don't have an easy way of doing that. So I'm going to show you the good old trick we always use with the app Floating Toucher to bring up, whenever you need it, a volume control right on the screen, and you can control the sound here or here. You saw it boot up, and I've booted it into the really special, fun, low-energy round face that the Collins family, Tim and Pierce, put together. That's the one used for the ambient display in many of the Android watches, which begs the question, does this support the always time ambient display? Sorry to say, it does not, from what I can tell. We'll go into the system and show you all that. Let's take a quick look at everything. When you slide down, here's our typical Android layout. We've got SIM card and Bluetooth identified if you're tethered or not. You have all of the selections here, including turning your sound on and off. I'm going to turn the quiet mode off. You notice it didn't make sound when it booted up. I typically leave mine on, in silent mode. Because if I got an alarm and one of them goes off in the house, just one of them in 200 watches everywhere, it's impossible to find. So I run them in silent, but I'm going to turn it on because obviously we need it for the music. This is your brightness control, which is inactive right now because I have display brightness, the little slider here on the side, the app that I've installed. Those of you who've been here before know all about this. Those of you who don't, make note of this address. You can download that app and this one and a few others that you're going to be seeing from, ready? Tiny URL, that's TINY URL, one word, .com/Android Watches. Android Watches. That'll get you to my Google Drive place. None of these are available in the Play Store anymore, but you can get to the Google Drive and you can download both that's called display brightness and floating toucher, this little dot, which can bring up stuff on the screen. And when you configure it properly, I can tap here and I've got full control of all of my audio levels, not just the music, but your system and your alarms and everything else. And just tap away and it goes away. Highly recommended you get those two apps and install them in any of your Android or your phone even, if you want to control the brightness from your phone. Works great for me to get it just right for showing on the screen without it being oversaturated. That's a little too dim. There we go. So that's this one. Normally you have 3 ranges of brightness. This is your twist your wrist to see the time, airplane mode, and when they're on, they're colored like the Wi-Fi down here, and Bluetooth is off. And I've got a short timeout right now. Location services for GPS, cellular connection, all of that's right there. That's the second dot. Come over here, you got a global clean everything up. It's good to tap that every now and then if you've been running a bunch of stuff. Here you've got an overall music player. So you could put the screen on here, when you have it in here. And that will give you the ability to control the music that's installed in here. But that's your installed music. That's not controlling things like streaming radio or other things. Okay, we timed out on that. There's one more across the top, and that's the weather, and it's set for your area. And when you scroll over there, lo and behold, you get centigrade and Fahrenheit, which is great. Okay, now we come back. And we scroll up, and this is where you get your typical pedometer stuff. There's the weekly summary, your daily step count, distance traveled, and calories burned, and that's all. And that's on every Android 711 watch. Left is notifications as pushed to you from your phone. Your phone needs to be tethered to the WII Watch 2, Y-Watch 2. And I have full review about that all alone. We're not going to go into tethering today because that's covered in a separate video. Then you come to the app drawer, they call it. And all the way over here, you have your fitness level. Now, while we're in fitness, one of the questions that comes up is, whoa, okay, you see these things here? These are different versions. I'm testing for the fitness app that you're about to see. That have different capabilities to them. And, well, I guess we got to pick one of those. Let's go in here and just say just once. Now, here, if I say go, it says to open the location services. So I have to turn on GPS. And am I getting the same thing here? Complete the action using that one. Let's try it using the other one. And hit the go. All right, this is what's typical. This is the one that came with it. The other one is the experimental one. It's going to be doing your tracking. You notice the location is not blinking. And if you come over here and it says finish instead of long press and hold, then that means that the fitness is based solely on your step count from the pedometer. It's not based on GPS. And unfortunately, that's what's built into this. But we're working hard to get an alternative fitness program that you can install like a regular Android app and use that fitness program that you just saw me fumbling with to do your fitness workout and have your distance and everything with GPS. Bottom line, if that's a showstopper for you, that the fitness doesn't match in with the GPS and you really need that on this, well, we may have a fix coming for you on that. That'll be coming sooner than the Bluetooth calling fix if we can ever get that working. That really seems like a hard one. But the fitness thing is easy. All right, the first screen you get to in all of your apps is contacts, phone, and messaging as related to the SIM card that you put in, and then settings. I've been waiting to get in here because I want to go to display and show you two things. There is not the always time toggle that you could turn on so that you could see the display I showed you initially, that analog clock glowing in the background. Unfortunately, this does not have it. Sleep, you see it's set at 15 seconds. I'm going to pump that puppy all the way up to 30 minutes. And so it'll go 30 minutes without timing out. By the way, if I were to tap on here and bring up the floating toucher, and you see up here I've replaced both the sound one and that one here are little ones that I've had to replace from the stock ones that are there. It's an easy thing to do. But this is a toggle, and it toggles through all of the different display settings. And if you tap it one more time, can you see that? It's an infinity sign, and that means the screen will be always on. So you can have always time, especially since you've got all kinds of power. If you have a nice display that doesn't use a lot of brightness to it, a digital or analog display like that, and you go using floating toucher to set your timeout to infinity, then you literally have a watch that has an always on display. It will use up the battery faster. Okay, just be aware of that. The app link style, you can have the arc or the matrix. I'm going in matrix because it's easier to see with all of the icons right now. The arc is what you're looking at here, except it has kind of a little curve to it. Your connections, of course, is where you set up your Wi-Fi and turn that on. Look at this, folks. You can make this a Wi-Fi hotspot. Now, what does that mean? That means you're going to go out with your tablet or your computer, and you have a SIM card in here, and it's got a cellular data plan on it. And this turns into, like your phone could, a Wi-Fi hotspot. It can generate Wi-Fi signal that you can connect your tablet or your computer directly to this chiclet in your pocket, or most likely you'll be carrying it in your music player with the extra power that you just charge here. It charges both this and this when you get a chance, and you've got 1200 plus 600 milliwatt hours of usage as a Wi-Fi hotspot. This doesn't even need to be on, no screen drainage of your battery, just the Wi-Fi hotspot. That whole thing configured, and you can be using the internet, whatever, from your tablet, just like you would if you used a Wi-Fi hotspot on your phone. You getting the picture? You may not want it for the music. You may not want it for the watch. You may just want it for a long life Wi-Fi hotspot. I'd buy it for that just on its own. And all the other stuff is fun. So everything else is in here. USB will light up when you're ready to connect it with the wire to your computer and transfer over apps that you may want to, like the ones you're going to download, display brightness and floating toucher. You download those like to your computer, you could do that. You could also download it to your phone and use the Watch 2 app to transfer over to here, or you use the wire and USB when you're in it, set it to transfer files, and then you can transfer all of that stuff and your music and whatever you want, video, into the watch, especially if you get the 32 gigabyte one on GPS down there. You activate that, or you can activate it from the screen we saw before, or you activate it from the floating toucher. And can you tell I've really mastered the loop breathing like the folks that play the didgeridoo? I don't even inhale anymore. I'll give you a break. Okay, gesture. This is the simple stuff of twisting your wrist to see the time or turning on and off pedometer. We may as well activate that. And then when we twist it, it'll light up. But hey, I've set it for infinity timeout, so it doesn't matter! Woo! Unless I turn it off. And then when I turn it, it should light up. Light up. Light up. Come on. Well, it should. But you turn it on, and it's going to be set. See, it's only lost 3% in all that meandering I've been doing. It'll be on all the time anyway. Trust me, you get it right and you do the thing with geometry the way it's supposed to do. You can glance at the time and it'll show up. It really doesn't make sense to have it on here, especially if it's in your pocket or laying down on the floor or the ceiling or something. So usually it would be good to have that off. Power savings is an overall thing. We've talked about that a lot. Language and inputs. Wow, you guys want to see the languages? Okay. English, I say add a language and then it'll give me the list of all of the languages. Here you go. I know a lot of international users could be interested in this, so bear with me. We'll take the time to scroll through. I have had feedback that a lot of times languages are mentioned or not mentioned in the write-ups about these things, and you just don't know if your language is actually there or not. So now you've had a peek at the languages. Date and times, where you set everything up for your location, reset the equipment, uninstall applications, more, and then about the watch. I'm coming back to more, but let's take a quick look in here. Just like all Android watches, you've got the last two will show you the current revision of the software that you're running, or firmware, the kernel version and the build number generally. And you also want to go in here to wireless update. When you're connected to the internet, should automatically start if it doesn't put the button at the bottom, and it'll tell you if you're running the latest version of the firmware. You want to do that when you first get it after you've charged it up. Got a video out on the proper procedure for doing firmware checking. I believe I used the Hotspot Prime for that. If it isn't up yet, it will be soon. I got a lot of them working simultaneously. So look for that on the proper setup of a brand new Android watch when you get it, from charging to setting the firmware to factory restoring to checking it again and so forth. It's really good to go through that process to make sure you're clean as a whistle and ready to go with your brand new investment. I'm hitting the more now. This has got all kinds of stuff here, including the background cleaner, which is relatively new. And the screen lock is on this one, and things like the Hotspot Prime also have face unlock. That's coming. It's not on this one, even though it has a front-facing camera, but it could probably be added through a firmware update later, since it seems to be an integral part of Android 7 that's been now moved and migrated to the watch environment. But right now for this one, you just have the screen lock. You can do with a pattern or something if you want to. And then third-party app adapters lets you get better viewing of some of the apps on your screen and so forth. What I do want to show you, if you install floating toucher and display brightness, you want to go into background cleaner. This is how you make it work. Ensure that it's turned on, so it'll shut down things that are running in the background when it goes off. And come in here, and of all of the things you have installed, make sure you turn off display brightness and floating toucher. And you can see I've got a whole bunch of stuff installed. It's fine with me if they get turned off. Oh, Accu Battery is how I'm trying to evaluate the battery health. That's another one. That is in the Google Play Store. Accu Battery. You may want to install that right away. And so forth. There's a whole bunch of other things. They're all on. Just make sure that you turn off display brightness and floating toucher if you install those. Leave this on in battery cleaner, in more, in settings. Now, there's an easier way we're going to get to when we get to it, to get to that. But for right now, remember, that's how you can get to it in settings. Good thing you got this video. Make note of the time right now so you can come back to that little section if you need to when you get yours. You got a basic browser and download, calendar and clock. Those are all the same. Here's the camera, and when I tap it, you see Mr. Tix right here in front of you. It's a 2 megapixel camera. It's not all that big. If I take a smiley picture, smile, there we go. And if I shoot a little video, I'm shooting a little video. Notice it got really close and it looks square, but when we play it back, it's not going to be. So let's do that. I'm going to hit the stop. The camera's at the bottom, so my thumb goes right over it when we're here. The reason I do this is I want to give this to you to see. A little video. Notice it got really close. Can you hear? Square, but when we play it back, it's not going to be. So let's do that. I'm going to hit the stop. When you double tap it, it pauses. It doesn't expand it. A little video. Notice it got really close. And it does not pinch and zoom. A little video. Notice it got really close and it looks square, but when okay. I'm coming out of that. I'm going to the picture. Oh my God. I can double tap. And I can show you my crooked... Oh, God. You guys see more about me than I know about myself. This is disgusting. You know my blood pressure. You know my heart rate. You know my overall weight. Now you know my crooked teeth. God, there's just no privacy in the world. Definitely with Google and Facebook. No, I cannot scroll it. Whoa. That's when I tried it at night. Don't try this at night. If I tap here and... Where's my display? Or information. Okay. Since it's rectangular, I can go in here and I can come down to details. Little tricky tapping it just right. There we go. And now you see it's a 1200 by 1600, which is really small, but it is adequate for 2 megapixel camera. Now, some of you may be frustrated. Why isn't it at least 5 megapixel? It's because this is probably the best. I didn't even comb my hair. Jeez. This is the best for chatting, for video chat, because it's low bandwidth, right? It doesn't have to mess around and do computations to reduce the bandwidth to send this out to somebody. So honestly, a 2 megapixel camera is ideal for a front-facing watch using internal cellular connectivity to minimize not only the amount of data that you use, but the fact that if you're not on an unlimited data plan, it might eat a lot of it up. There. Gallery is a part of camera. Here's music, which is the internal music player for here. And here's a sound recorder, which you already heard the sound. File manager, this is where we get into all of the stuff. And I've got a special folder I call Apps Core, the core apps. And I drag that connected to the computer into all of my Android watches. And it's from there that I'm setting up all these different apps that you're seeing now and you will see later. Also, Clock Skin folder is the place where we install the watch faces that you want to put in, custom ones. Again, from your computer, and you transfer it over through the cable or through your phone if you have it downloaded in there using the YWatch app or other apps like AirDroid. AirDroid works great for wireless transfer. I'm giving you a lot today. I know, I really am. This is way more than just an unboxing. Heart rate sensor here ties in with the thing in the back. You got 2 green diodes, it looks like. It'll light up when it sees you and stop when it doesn't. And so that's going to take your heart rate reading. Not going to belabor that one. This is wild. It's at that one point then you lose the ability to see the titles. But the title here is for fitness. And this again is the stock one that we had that I was showing you that has the finish rather than the hold to end, and it does not integrate with the GPS, and that's what comes with the watch. Then you have weather, and that's updating for your area, which we don't need to see again, and voice search is the OK trigger for Google, you know, for searching. And then this is the actual Google Play Store, but it doesn't look at all like the Google logo. Your Google Maps is here. Assistant, now, this is for connecting to your phone. If you didn't do it at the very beginning, this is the QR code you're going to want to scan with your phone after you install the YWatch 2 app and say connect to a device. It's going to give you a window with activate your camera. You highlight that QR code. They identify each other. They connect, and you're good to go. Once you got it connected, now you can use this for remote capture of a picture, remote music control. You can send files and receive them from the other side, and of course find your device as well. So all of that happens here. All of that's covered in a different video. The App Store is a simple little thing, different than the Google Play Store. This only has 4 apps, but you can download them without even having a Google account. Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, and YouTube. Does WhatsApp work? I don't use it, folks. I keep getting asked about that. I think it can if you have a SIM card in it with your phone number that's associated with the watch. Do you want to use WhatsApp with the phone number that's in your phone? I don't know, because WhatsApp is very tricky about using in multiple devices. You have to go beyond here to find that out. Duo I installed. Now we're getting into some of the other stuff. This is a video conferencing app. So is Google Hangouts. And so you can set all that up and try. Works great if you're connected to Wi-Fi. And inside here, it's good and loud through the speaker as well. More loud than it will be from here. But of course, you can use it as the watch module as well and do your video chatting right from here. The camera's on the bottom, not the top. It's going to tend to look up your nostrils and at your sagging chin. Oh, wait a minute. I'm talking to millennials. Doesn't matter. Disregard that stuff. You guys are okay. YouTube, the standard player. Flipboard, open camera. These are different things I really, really like. And tune-in radio. We'll come back to that to play some music for you to hear. I've got Antutu benchmark testing done on this one. Wow, almost 20,000. That's really good for a watch. I bet that means this has got the higher configuration. I didn't even check that or show you guys how to do it. So we're going to go back up to settings. Make sure when you get yours, what you've got. Go into more, which is where we were. And when you scroll further down, you've got storage and RAM. So storage, 9.32 gigabytes of available, 32 gigabytes of space. And RAM, there. We're only using 0.9 gigabytes of free 2 plus 1 is 3. So this is the higher end 3 gigabyte configuration. So no doubt when you do the Antutu report, we're going to have a higher result because we have much more memory and RAM to play with. Okay, I got a few other things in here. Here's that floating toucher stuff. I'm just going to show these to you. I do have Google Assistant. It will install in this because we have more than 2 gigabytes of RAM, and that's your minimum required to go beyond the OK trigger word Google and into the actual assistant where it can do in context by reading what's on the screen. Really cool. Maps to go, Google to go, Google Go. These are new special reduced memory apps made for smaller units and especially for phones. The Google Gboard, that's a keyboard replacement I've got in here that gives you the microphone capability. The standard microphone's not there. Keep for notes. Integrates with your Google Enterprise, and you can make notes, voice, penmanship, writing, typing, whatever, on your watch, and next time you sync, it'll be in Google Keep, and you'll be able to see them anywhere. Setting search. This is another one that's not in the Google Play Store, and I want to show you one thing with that. And Pocket, of course, is where you can put articles, and Haystack is a TV streaming news type thing. We might play with that in a minute. Setting search. When you download that from tinyurl.com/Android watches, in the my G Plus area, or sorry, Google Drive area, there's a copy of this. You can download it. Go into accessibility and come down here to where you see magnification gestures and make sure you turn that on if you'd like to be able to read that tiny print. So here's a bunch of really small print on this thing. Watch this. I triple tap, and it magnifies it so you can see it. And you can scroll around to look at it a little easier. Actually, what we're doing is moving the page. If you'd rather scroll, triple tap takes it back, and be able to scroll the actual page itself, triple tap and hold like this. 1, 2, 3, hold. There. Now you see I'm scrolling around within the entire page. And so you'll be able to read those tiny things that you can't see on this watch. I really love that. But again, I'm talking to millennials, so I guess that doesn't matter. Your eyes are probably pretty good for this size of a screen anyway. But if they're not, download that one and work with it, and you'll be in good shape. Okay, that was setting search. I'm not going to cover more of these. There's those other fitness ones I'm working on. Whoops. Oh, all right. You see my picture there? Because this has a front-facing camera, I'm able to, if I get this just right, you see this is calibrating to my, I'm not sure what, skin something or other, and it's giving me my heart rate. And it'll actually be able to do that looking directly at me. And if I put my finger over it and I make contact and it calibrates again, it's going to be even more accurate. So in a crazy kind of way, this is working like the diode in the back. There, once you start seeing the chart with the regular rhythm coming up, I need to be still, I need to be quiet. That's why the built-in ones with the green diodes are much more easy to use and efficient. But this particular app, using a front-facing camera, has that capability. I accidentally got into that, but that's called Touchless Hrm, heart rate monitor. I wanted to show you the koi pond, which is a fun one to test your battery with if you like. You just put this thing in here, you set the screen to be always on, you're using the processor, you're using the screen, you're using all of it, and you can run it down to get kind of an idea about how long it will last at a minimum. And then if you just use it casually throughout the day, you'll know you'll get longer than that. No, I haven't tried it yet, but when I do that, I'll put it in the show notes what my koi pond test was from fully charged all the way down to like 10%. I'll let you know with the unit itself, and I'll let you know when we put it in here and charge it back up remotely with the power bank, and then take it back out and run it that way to see what our overall life is if you bring the power bank along with you. The nice thing about the power bank really is that you can slide this thing in, you hear it just switching over, and continue to use it, and it'll charge it. And you've got the whole thing self-contained. And you got your button use right here, too, that you can come back. See? Charge reached. Please disconnect your charger. This is a response to me from that Accu battery, which they claim you should not charge beyond 80% of your battery charge capacity for longest life with your batteries. Don't overcharge them, in other words. So if I'm higher than 80%, it tells me to just disconnect my charger. So I just push on the back, and there you go. I've disconnected it. And we're back to the home screen. Have I covered enough for you? You want a little more about what this thing is like? Let me get it all set up. Check this out. There's somebody talking faster than me. Okay. I've pulled up a streaming podcast news station just to show you inside the little module itself what it sounds like. Let's play with the audio.
Did you know you can hear Radio Disney, the #1 listener requested?
Let's see. Okay, media is all the way up right now. So that's as loud as it's going to get for you. That's how you change the volume using the floating toucher. Now, the music player. Are you ready? Here we go.
Selena, Justin, Taylor, Ed, and Billy with none of the breaks. Visit tunein.com/premium to upgrade. Right now, instead of hearing this,
Whoops. Okay. I'm playing ads for you because there's a good chance that Google's not going to listen to that and think I'm violating copyright. Otherwise, I'd play some music. But that's an idea of what it looks like when you use the music player. It even says on the side, power bank and music player. And again, I don't have volume control or channel changing capability with it. If you're in a streaming radio, you obviously can do that on here. And some of them, depending on what you've gotten, this is something good to look for in your Android apps that play music, radio, whatever, is that there's a volume control that you can get to that easily right from the screen. Otherwise, you got to go through the convoluted process like I've set up here to get to some form of a volume control. Wow, 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 wow. Well, you've seen it on the wrist. You've seen it, I got to put it in right like this and down. You've seen it in the music player. We've given you an overall run through. There we go. And it's high noon. Awesome. It's charged back to 100%. While I was doing some editing on those first pieces, I simply dropped it back in here and it charged back up again. Obviously, I didn't pay attention the first time it beeped and went off to take it away, so it didn't stop at 80%. It went all the way back up to 100. You remember on the LEMFO LEM10, I showed you some new watch faces that Alrod had created that have active complications? What am I talking about? Buttons. Buttons that you can actually touch on the watch face, and it'll take you right into it, like the phone, the music player, heart rate, and on this one, your fitness. Now, custom watch faces can be created that have these kind of complications built into them. And they can even be set up a lot like an Apple with all the things in the corners. Now, this was made for the LEMFO LEM10, and this is the LEM11, and it needs to be redone just a little bit to scale back. But all of these different things can be made active, and not just the installed apps. You can set it up, if you know how to program this stuff, for apps that you download in here. So if you have specific apps like Stravia or Runtastic or a music player that's unique or a news reader, whatever you like, you have that capability here as well. And as far as the installed watch faces that come with this, they look like this. This one I think is really amazing. Check it out. It's like flowers underwater, and the background changes and the picture changes. Oh, and it tells me I have reached my charging level because I'm inside of here. Let's come back out of that and back to the watch face. You could just sit for hours with this one. This is really, really amazing. And it's a stock watch face. It comes with it. Yep. Now, beyond that, you have some really creative new ones. Here's a different circular one with edging, so it fits well in a round watch. I mean, a square watch like this. This one, too, is designed a little more for the square. I'm going to turn the brightness a bit for you. I'm sticking this at the end so those of you who are like done can move on with life. Here's one that would really be cool with active complications around the edges, but it's not yet. LEMFO is still working on figuring the stuff out that Alrod knows instinctively to do. But for now, they're here. And of course, as new ones come out, they can be available for you as well. Here's another flower one, but this one's not the changing flower. It's static, but it shows you step count and calories burned and those kinds of things. Here's a silver one with some gears in it that are rotating very, very slowly if you look carefully. You can always tell when you first touch it, things will vibrate as it settles down on its display. Again, the dot that you're seeing is not part of the watch face or a defect in the design. That's the floating toucher. And that dot is movable. You can drag it and put it somewhere else if you want to, so it's not in the way of your image. There's a really nice butterfly. Here's a nice broad full screen. Now you get an idea of how it scales to the watch. There and here. And that's what it looks like in this format. Couple more and then we'll call it quits. Oh, that's the last one. And now we're back into Alrod's complications. Here's one he made that if you install the Google calculator, it looks like a calculator. And this, again, it's got to be scaled back down again, but the buttons, when you touch here, would launch the Google calculator. It's not doing it because I haven't installed it. It's not stock, but if I had, it'll automatically recognize it, and it'll switch over to a real calculator that you could use. Alrighty. Oh, yeah. Way down here. You see, I've got a whole bunch of mine that I've installed here to play with. Uh-oh, I touched the brightness control. There we go. When you get to the plus sign, have you guys tried this yet? I keep putting it on my videos at the very end now, so if you haven't seen it yet, watch. When you're connected to the server with Wi-Fi and you hit that plus key, you get all kinds of new watch faces in here now. They're not the same ones you saw before. And this is true for all Android watches. So no matter which Android watch you have, all the way back to, gosh, 2014, 15, 16, maybe 2016, as long as you have that plus button at the end, you can get access to hundreds of new watch faces. Unfortunately, they scroll linearly, so if you want some that are way later, you're going to have to spend a lot of time scrolling 4 or 5 of them, waiting for the system to catch up. The ones you want, you just touch the down arrow to install them, and there they are, and they'll be added to your watch. And again, it just goes on and on and on. So check your watch if you have one. If you're a watch collector, there's the face we just put in. And press and hold. Here's the one just before it. And any of them you want to get rid of, just press and hold and hit the minus button and it'll delete it. And this, of course, is where you can put in your own picture and create your own watch face from your own favorite pictures in your system as well. Okay, I think that wraps it up for us. I like it. This thing is pretty cool. It's got lots of capabilities. It's multi-purpose. Again, you can just drop it in your pocket if you want to. Wear it in a band for your wrist or pop it in the music player power bank. And you can pick it up right now really cheap. It's as low as $100. You're not going to see it any lower than that if you're watching now before 11/11. If you missed that one, check out Black Friday, Cyber Monday. If you missed both of those, check below for a coupon discount, because I always try to keep the best coupon deals available for you to pick up. And no matter how you go about doing it, start using our link if you don't mind. Click on the link, then go in there, and if there's a better price for Black Friday or whatever, buy it that way. Just going through our link follows a little breadcrumb trail that lets them know that you are buying it because you watched Smartwatch Ticks, and that helps us get more watches in the future. If you prefer to go straight through Banggood and also check their prices, these are all jumping all over the place. Click on the link down below as well and check and compare with Banggood's prices. So either one, either LEMFO Direct AliExpress or Banggood will get you in there, and you can pick up this really amazing LEMFO LEM11 music player combo. Put it in the right way, bottom first, snap the top, and you're connected. Okay, we'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching, and really appreciate your subscription and your thumbs up on these videos.